Podcast is gonna be a little bit different than what I normally do. Um, this is, you know, Dear uh Little Endo Warrior, kind of a letter. And so I did write a letter for anybody that may be facing endometriosis, um, and just needed, you know, basically who I needed when I didn't know what was happening with me and what was wrong with me. Um, Before I start, this is endometriosis awareness, and basically, endometriosis is a disease in which tissue similar to the lining of the uterus grows outside the uterus. It can cause pain, and make it harder for people to get pregnant. Um, you can have pain in sex, diarrhea. IBS is connected to endometriosis, so you may kind of put the two together and be like, wait, what? So endo, basically I wanted to write this letter for anyone that's going through what I did. So here we go. Dear little endo warrior, I hope this finds you in a moment of peace amidst the storm of pain and confusion that often accompanies our journey with endometriosis. As I share my story with you, I want you to know that you are not alone and your struggles are valid, even when it feels like the world doesn't understand. I understand the frustration and loneliness that come with feeling unseen and misunderstood by medical professionals. For years, I battled with various health issues from anxiety and PMDD to acid reflux and IBS, all while grappling with irregular and excruciating periods. Like you, I endured deliberating, debilitating pain that impacted every aspect of my life, yet struggled to find answers. It wasn't until a suggestion from a friend's mom and years of relentless suffering that I even considered the possibility of having endometriosis. Even then, skepticism from doctors and loved ones made the journey feel more isolating. But despite the doubt cast upon me, the pain remained real and overwhelming, affecting not just my physical well-being, but also my mental health. In the face of dismissive medical advice, I took matters into my own hands, experimenting with diet changes and medications, mostly ibuprofen, to find some semblance of relief. While these measures provided temporary respite, they didn't address the root of the problem. It was only through joining online support groups that I realized I wasn't alone in my struggles. Yet the road to diagnosis remained fraught with obstacles as invasive tests and medical skepticism continued to hinder progress. But through it all, I learned the invaluable lesson of self-advocacy. I discovered the importance of persisting in seeking the right diagnosis and treatment, even with faced with skepticism or disbelief. I share my story with you not to dwell on the pain of the past, but to offer a glimmer of hope for the future. Finding a supportive community and a doctor who finally listened marked a turning point in my journey. It was the beginning of understanding and managing my condition better, and I believe that you too will find your beacon of light amidst the darkness. So, dear little Endo Warrior, as you navigate this turbulent journey, remember that your voice matters and your pain deserves to be acknowledged. You are stronger than you know, and there's strength in solidarity. Keep fighting, keep advocating for yourself, and know that brighter days lie ahead. With unwavering support and solidarity, love, little Endo Warrior, BRIE. I wrote this because when I was younger, I needed that person. Um, I think that it would have helped me get my answers quicker, and I know resources are not there how they should be. But if you are someone who has endo and can share your story, I do believe that it will be effective because somebody is that little girl that I was. Somebody was that little girl that you are, and they need to hear. They need to hear that there's hope and support and love. Um, and even though there isn't like a for sure type of, how do I say this? Fix to endo, at least we have each other because that's what I needed back then. And that's what the women that are fighting to find out what's wrong with them need now. Um, so I hope this serves you well. If you want to hear more about my story, I do have a podcast that I made back about my whole journey, a little bit more in-depth detail of how I got there. Um, but this episode I just felt was something that just called to me. So if you know of anyone that may have endo, send them this way to here or online, or really just that's the best way to help and support a loved one. Another way to support a loved one that may have endo is to just listen. One of the biggest things that helped me out was my support system. When they listened, they may have not understood what I was going through, but they listened to me and they gave me grace. And when I went through the pain and I had to be bedridden, they supported me and, they gave me the heating pad. They checked in on me. They just made sure I was okay. And I really will always be appreciative of my family for being there for me in that manner. Not everybody gets that, um, especially the understanding or belief toward them. And nothing is more hard than having people tell you that they don't believe you and that you're making it up. Um, and it's not easy. It affects your relationships, not just with your family, but friends. It's hard to go out with your friends. It affects your work life. With work, I lost all my sick days to endo, to a flare up. It also affects your relationships. I talked about pain with sex being one of the symptoms. That does affect a relationship, especially if you're intimately involved. Um, Not everybody's going to be understanding. I was lucky, I feel personally, to have a man like my husband because he's always been understanding and loving and supportive. And when I go through um, my flare up, he just supports me and loves me. But that doesn't always happen. I've seen many people be gaslit by their partners. I've seen it affect the relationships where they are no longer dating or with anybody because it's hard to date with it because you have to have somebody that has grace and understands, and that's not an easy person to find. And if you do have that, you know, make sure that you support them too in the sense of giving them appreciation for understanding and loving you, because that is the beautiful thing about love. A true love, it's not unconditional. I mean, it's not conditional. It's not, oh, well, you've, you've don't do this, so therefore this. It's unconditional. And unconditional love is beautiful. And if you have that partner in your life and you're going through this, don't forget to give them love and grace as well, because it's not an easy process. It's like it's not easy on both sides. Obviously, you have the pain, and obviously, you are going through a hard time, but it's not easy for your partner to watch you go through that. Just think about, you know, when you watch a family member that you love struggling with pain or doing something that hurts you, that's the same with your partner. Um, you can, I only say this because sometimes we get so lost in the pain and confusion that we forget to appreciate the beautiful people surrounding us that do support and love us, if you have that. If you don't, I hope that our community, the endometriosis community, can be there and that support for you, because that's what that little endo warrior needs. So I know this isn't a very long podcast, but I think that it can be very helpful. And I just hope that you're able to find answers if you haven't found them yet. I hope you're able to have a support system, even if it's just the groups. And if you are a warrior that knows your diagnosis, whether it's by the doctor or just by learning about it, because even though, yes, technically, health-wise, you would need the doctor to say that you have it, it doesn't mean that you don't have it. And there are people that I know that know they have it, and they don't they don't need they may not be able to go through the financial process of being able to get um a true diagnosis, but that doesn't mean you don't have it. So my point is that just advocate, just continue to advocate, because that's what we need. We need more awareness, we need more action, we need more support, and there are going to be people that cannot afford to do this, but that do have it, and we need to be understanding and loving with that group as well. Because I've noticed in the endo community, sometimes people think, oh, well, you have to be with a doctor, you have to have this done. What got me through to getting more answers was the groups. Um, I had an idea. I was very strongly under the impression that I had it once I learned about it, and once my friend's mom had talked about the word or the term. But in order to get the diagnosis, sometimes it's just not financially feasible for people. And anybody that knows their own body knows that intuition and knows to trust it. Um, and I will never be someone that's going to go up to someone and be like, oh, well, you didn't get it done by the doctor, then it didn't happen. No, because sometimes you can't get the answer. Sometimes the resources don't exist. Sometimes you don't have that. And yeah, it's it's very sad. I just hope for change, and I'm going to continue to share my story. Even if you've heard it multiple times, I'm going to continue to share, because it's important to keep getting it out there, because maybe there's somebody out there hearing it for the very first time that can relate and is like, oh my goodness, I feel the same way. So in this podcast, I am going to link a couple of my episodes that are all along the lines of endometriosis. I have another uh, person that came in and talked about their endo story, and I just intend to share that. So with that, you are loved, you are worthy, you are cherished, and I am proud of you. Till next time on the BRIE Pod. Bye.